So I'm going to read a little more from Eastern and Central Europe. I left off over here in Northeastern Europe. So it says Northeastern Europe at a glance: Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Moscow and St. Petersburg. Okay, there's a picture here. Some lake or river or something, I'm not sure. There's a little map there. Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Northeastern Europe at a glance. Long fought over by Baltic, Teutonic, Scandinavian, and Slavic warlords, Northeastern Europe presents a rich palette of ancient castles, imperial cities, and stately churches. Cities such as St. Petersburg in Russia and Vilnius in Lithuania once ruled over extensive multinational empires, while the Latvian and Estonia capitals, Riga and Tallinn, stood at the heart of North European trade routes. Today, the region's cities are among the fastest developing on the European continent, blending thriving urban culture with stunning landscapes and an extraordinary wealth of historic architecture. So there's a tiny version of the map there. So Northeastern Europe is the red part. It's in the first part here. It says Saaremaa Island. The largest island in Estonia offers a haunting mixture of reed-rimmed shores and juniper-covered heath, in addition to the majestic windmills that are its trademark. And here it says Rundale Palace. Is that what I say? Rundale. Regarded as Latvia's most impressive surviving stately home, was designed by Italian architect Francesco Bartolomeo Rastrelli. It features ornate rooms decorated in the Rococo style of the second half of the 18th century. Parnitis Dune, which is here, towers over the fishing village of Nida on the Curonian Spit. Spectacular views from the summit take in the Baltic Sea and the Curonian Lagoon and stretch southwards to Kaliningrad. And then another map here. So this one says St. Petersburg. The Hermitage houses the staterooms of the Tsar's Winter Palace and has nearly 3 million exhibits, ranging from fine arts to archaeological finds. In Moscow, St. Basil's Cathedral was built in 1555 through 1561 for Ivan the Terrible. Pointed roofs, colorful domes, and tiers of arched gables typify its stunning architectural diversity. It always reminded me of a candy house. It looks like it's made of candy. I don't know why it makes me think of that. I think it's the swirly parts on the top. They look like little meringue cookies. And this one here, also Latvia, is one of Gauja National Park is one of the most attractive national parks in Latvia. Besides a compelling mix of natural landscapes and historic sites, it also offers an extensive range of outdoor activities from canoeing to bobsledding. And this one in Lithuania, over here. Vilnius Cathedral is a striking neoclassical edifice with huge statues of Saints Casimir, Stanislaus, and Helena topping the pediment. Inside, a chapel dedicated to Saint Casimir, patron saint of Lithuania, is filled with stunning Baroque stucco work and statuary. That's a nice picture. It says pavement cafe along cobbled Castle Street leading to the old town Vilnius. And the enchanting red brick Trakai Island Castle on Lake Galv, Lithuania. The largest of the 3 Baltic states, and one of the hidden jewels of Europe, Lithuania takes pride in its relatively undiscovered landscape of clean lakes, ancient forests, and coastal dunes. The capital, Vilnius, which has a UNESCO-protected old town, combines the romance of breathtaking Baroque architecture with the modern trappings of 21st century Europe. Lithuania is blessed with an unblemished natural landscape of rolling hills, lakes, and rivers. The eastern half of the country is known as the Highlands, and the west as the Lowlands, even though the terrain is almost universally flat. Following the tumultuous history, the country is forging a positive political and cultural role for itself in the expanded European Union. Many of its fine historic buildings have survived, and folk culture colors every corner of the country. History. At the beginning of the 13th century, Lithuanian tribes such as the Samogitia and Augstaikai began to unite in the face of the incursions by Germanic crusaders. In 1253, Duke Mindaugas crowned himself king of the United Tribes. However, his acceptance of Christianity enraged the Samogitians, who murdered him and reverted to paganism. In the 14th century, the Teutonic Knights, German warrior monks, returning from the Middle East, joined the fight against the pagan Grand Duchy of Lithuania. In 1410, they were defeated at the Battle of Grunwald, Zalgiris, by the armies of Lithuania and Poland, which had forged an alliance by marriage in 1386. Fear of Russia led closer ties between Lithuania and Poland, and the creation of the Commonwealth of the two nations cemented at the Union of Lublin in 1569, when King Sigismund Augustus died without an heir. The combined position of Grand Duke of Lithuania and King of Poland became an elected one. The aristocracy adopted the Polish language, and Lithuanian culture was marginalized. This detail from Jan Matejko's depiction of Battle of Grunwald. Key dates in Lithuanian history. AD 1236, Samogitian victory over German crusaders. 1240, Duke Mindaugas unites Lithuania. 1253, Duke Mindaugas crowned king. 1386, Royal marriage unites Lithuania and Poland. 1410. Battle of Grunwald destroys Teutonic Knights. 1569. Union of Lublin creates Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. 1655. Russian army sacks Vilnius. 1795. Final partition of the Commonwealth. 1831. Rebellion against Tsarist rule. 1863. Lithuanian rebels persecuted by Russia. 1918. Lithuania declares independence. 1923. Lithuania reclaims Klaipėda. 1926. President Smetona seizes power. 1944. Soviets reoccupy Lithuania. 1955. Partisan war against Soviet occupation dies away. 1988. Statutes movement founded. 1990. Declaration of Independence. 2004. Lithuania joins NATO and becomes a member of the EU. The 17th century was a disastrous period for Lithuania, characterized by misrule, plague, and a calamitous invasion by the Russians. During the 18th century, the Commonwealth gradually became a puppet state of Tsarist Russia. In a series of partitions, its vast lands were divided between Russia, Prussia, and Austria. By 1795, Poland and Lithuania had ceased to exist. Over 120 years of occupation followed, during which Russification led to the eradication of all traces of traditional Lithuania. Resistance simmered under the surface, and as World War I and the 1917 Russian Revolution destroyed the Tsarist Empire, a national council in Vilnius declared Lithuania independent on 16th of February 1918. Between 1926 and 1940, under authoritarian Antanas Smetona, Lithuania enjoyed a period of growing prosperity. However, it was then occupied by the Red Army, ushering in a reign of terror defined by mass deportations and massacres that continued under the Nazis. The return of the Red Army in 1944 saw between 120,000 and 300,000 people deported to the Siberian gulags. In 1988, a group of intellectuals founded the Sachudis movement to rally popular support for demonstrations, and on 11th of March 1990, Lithuania declared its independence, prompting a fierce response by Soviet troops. Freedom was finally declared in August 1991. Several years of economic hardship followed, but membership of the EU and NATO has since brought far greater prosperity. Language and culture. Lithuanian belongs to the Baltic family of languages. While English is commonly used as a second language, German, Russian, and Polish are also widely spoken. Lithuanians celebrate a host of festivals. Most of the year's events take place in summer, when the country comes alive with music, dance, and food festivals. And there's a picture here. It says vast sand dunes, Curonian Spit National Park. There's a map. I'm not sure how accurate it'll be now, because I think this was from the early 2000s, I want to say. So it says like where railways are, airports, ferries, roads. I mean, since then it's probably changed a little bit. But it's basically the map. view of Upper Castle across the Neris River, Vilnius. Exploring Lithuania. With its rich history and wealth of scenic beauty, Lithuania offers many attractions. Its capital, Vilnius, possesses one of Europe's finest old towns, while Vilnius and Kaunas are the most vibrant cities. The less visited towns and villages with their beautiful churches and farmsteads, and the coast with its fascinating sandy dunes and beaches also draws visitors. Trains are cheap, but not frequent, and with few routes. The country's flat landscape makes it ideal for cycling. There's another picture. Outdoor cafes along a cobblestone street, Old Town. Looks nice. Vilnius. Whether viewed from one of the hills that overlook the Old Town, or one of the many pavement cafes with tall spires rising all around, Vilnius is unmistakably a city of great beauty. It is home to 600,000 people. The city sustained a series of wars, invasions, and fires between the early 17th and mid-18th centuries. Efforts to rebuild the city resulted in the rich offshoot of the Baroque style that is typical of Vilnius today. The Old Town on the UNESCO World Heritage List since 1994 blends Gothic and neoclassical styles. The best places to begin a tour of the Old Town are Vilnius Cathedral in the north and the Gates of Dawn in the south. Vilnius University and its surrounding churches and courtyards are one of the city's finest architectural ensembles. So here's a map there, and then sights at a glance. Applied Arts Museum, Cathedral Square, Church of St. Casimir, Gates of Dawn, Holocaust Museum, Lower Castle, the Museum of Genocide Victims, St. John's Church, State Jewish Museum, Town Hall Square, Upper Castle, Vilnius Cathedral, Vilnius University. And here's this detail on Vilnius University door. A lot of details. It's like everything has a little picture in it. Getting around. Vilnius is a compact city that can easily be explored on foot. Walking is the best way to explore the Old Town. Cycling is another popular way of getting around the town center, and the tourist office of the Old Town offers bicycles on rent. Outlying sites can be reached by bus, but others, located further away from the city center, are more easily reached by car or taxi. Again, there's stuff about the churches, post office, railway, bus, parking, airport. All that kind of stuff might not be up to date because it's about 20 years old, this book. Maybe older. Okay. Vilnius Cathedral. Having taken various guises since it was first built as a Christian church on the site of a pagan temple in 1251, Vilnius Cathedral today largely dates from the late 18th century. The young architect Laurinus Stuoka Gukevičius brought the fashionable French classicist style to Baroque Vilnius. His idea for the cathedral exterior and interior being a visual recreation of a Greek temple. Vilnius Cathedral was closed by the Soviets in 1950 and initially mooted for use as a garage for truck repairs. In 1956, however, it opened as a picture gallery. It was eventually returned to the Catholic Church in 1988 and reconsecrated in 1989, a year before independence was declared. Valavičius Chapel. Members of the Valavičius family were governors and bishops of Vilnius. Their lavish chapel was built in the early 17th century. The statue of St. Helena is on the top there. And the stucco sculpture, which is here. This sculpture depicting a bird sacrifice can be seen on the tympanum of the facade, main entrance. And then wall painting of crucifixion. The oldest surviving fresco in Lithuania, dating from the 14th century, can be found in the crypt. It was discovered in 1985. And it's a statue of Luke the Evangelist, which is right here. One of the statues of the four evangelists on the southern facade, the one of Luke appears with a bull, a symbol of service and sacrifice. Right here. High altar, which is there. The marvelously intricate tabernacle door of the high altar, which was created in the 1620s, is fashioned from gold and silver. Two biblical scenes, the Last Supper and Christ washing the disciples' feet, are beautifully depicted on the panel. And then St. Casimir's Chapel is here. Italian masters created this superb chapel, one of the major Baroque jewels of Vilnius, from 1623 to 1636. Its main highlights are the marble columns, magnificent stucco figures, and colorful frescoes. Saint Casimir is a stunning, richly decorated altar of Saint Casimir's Chapel. Casimir was the second son of King Casimir IV of Poland, whose siblings became kings and queens of European states through lineage and marriage. Pious Casimir shunned the luxuries of court life and would often go to the cathedral to pray. When he died of tuberculosis at the age of 25, it was rumored that his coffin could cure the disease. A fresco in St. Casimir's Chapel shows how a sick orphan who prayed beneath the coffin was miraculously cured. Crypt. A somber mausoleum holds the remains of two Grand Dukes and two wives of Sigismund Augustus, Gediminus' last descendant. So that's Vilnius Cathedral. And I think I'll put my tab here and continue next time. Okay, that was a little bit of Lithuania. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that a little bit, and I hope you fall asleep. Okay, so yeah, thank you for subscribing and watching my videos and liking and commenting and all that. Yeah, hope it helped you fall